So today I want to tell you guys a story. Story on how I struggled at the lowest point in my life. It's not something that is easy for me to talk about, but it's important to where I am today. So a couple years ago, I found myself in the midst of being disabled, having a disability. It was a stupid day. And literally, it only took 5 seconds for my life to change forever. So I was literally just walking down the stairs like any other day, and then I slipped. I landed on the stair and landed on my L5, which, for those of you that don't know what that is right in the middle of your lower back. After that, I started to lose function with my balance, and I got diagnosed with a bunch of things that I'm not going to go into. But then my marriage started to fall apart because I became angry at God. I became angry at everybody. The people that wanted to be there for me, I really just pushed them out of my life because I didn't want anything to do with anybody, and I hated everybody and everything, and including God. And my faith was really tested and tore apart in a very harsh way. I found it to be really struggling for me to keep my faith at that time. So in the midst of everything going on, it was like everything was just another thing, right? They thought I fractured my vertebrae. They wasn't sure what was going on, and the whole time that these things were happening, I kept saying, God, what are you doing? Why? Why is this happening to me? And I was angry because of that. I didn't understand or know what I know now. The biggest question that I get to this day from people that don't believe in God, from people that are struggling with their faith, is why? Why me, and why we gotta let this happen? Well, Jesus was asked the same question, and Jesus' response was kind of heartbreaking and yet true. In a way, he said, sometimes bad things happen to good people. Now, at that time, I've been a Christian for, more than 10 years. And now I've been a Christian for over 16 years. But at that point in my life, my faith was shaken, and it was shaken hard. And it affected my marriage to a point where I almost got a divorce. My wife was done. I was done. Statistically, the majority of marriages fail when somebody suffers from a catastrophic event that causes them to become disabled. Odds were not in our favor. And I remember being so mad that I just didn't see the point to living life anymore. I didn't see the purpose of it all. I mean, looking back on it, now it's easy for me to be like, yeah, totally, God's got my back, brofist. But in that moment, I felt completely alone. And I remember telling my wife that I wanted to end it all. And I don't know if if the words she said to me were from God or not, or was it just her her reacting in the moment of hearing what she was hearing, processing it, But I remember her looking at me and saying, "You selfish man." That was starting of a huge wake-up call in my life, because I realized that my focus wasn't on us as a unit. It was on me alone. And that was sobering to me, because not only did we lose an income or a second person helping out, but my wife was trying to literally shoulder the burden of everything to the point where she was basically working 3 jobs and just trying to figure it out. And I can imagine probably the anger that she felt when I said I was ready to give up. It was about almost a year of this same day in and day out, doing the same thing. I couldn't sleep in the bed. I couldn't, do normal things. I didn't want to do anything. I was depressed all the time. I was still angry. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't reading the Bible. I wasn't doing, the things I should be doing, because in that moment I should be drawing closer to God. Instead, I was pushing God away. And I had like this routine, right? Late at night, doctors were trying to find medications that would help, but before I got on the right medications to start helping with the amount of pain I was going through, the amount of pain I felt was excruciating every single day. Like most pain I've ever felt. As I was going through day by day, and I would have like these screaming matches at God, like just screaming into the abyss every night, because I couldn't sleep upstairs. I slept in a recliner or on a couch, which not a good idea, but it's what I had to do, and I was so literally pissed off at the world. I remember one night I was looking at the ceiling, and I remember the corner of the room I was looking at, not here, but like where I was at the time, where we were living at the time. I was looking at that corner of the ceiling, and I was just like, what are you doing? Why? How come? What for? I can't stand you. I'm telling all these things to God, right? I'm telling God my dissatisfaction with my condition, and like saying things to the point where it's like, well, why don't you just take me? It's like real life, like modern day Job stuff, right? When Job was like, except I was I was more extreme, right? I tend to be melodramatic sometimes, but I was more extreme with it. Like, I wasn't like cursing like God, like, but I was like cursing at God, but I was not a happy camper. And I made it known, I made it vocal. It was the only, I guess, release that kept my sanity. I'm skeptical about these kinds of things, right? Like super skeptical. And it's okay if you're skeptical, but I know what happened that night, and nobody can tell me any different. So I'm sitting there in my recliner yelling, and I literally heard a voice say my name. Whatever you want to call it, disembodied voice. I like to think it was Christ or God, or I definitely think it was Christ. I heard my name. I heard Dan. And I just sat there for a second, because I looked around the room, because I was expecting to see somebody standing there, somebody like looking like physically at me, and there was nobody there. I'm like, okay. Like because I heard my name so loud, and I heard my name again, and I'm still looking around the room, because I'm trying to figure out if there's somebody there trying to get my attention. And the next words that I heard is what changed everything. So I heard Dan, then my name again, and then I heard, Dan, do you love me? Even to this day, I hear that, and it's like, dang. He said my name. And I sat there for I don't know how long. And I was just in awe-stricken. And the only thing I could think of that came to my mouth was, yes. Of course I do. And what I said next was, because, at this point, I believe I was talking to God. Wholeheartedly. Talking to God, talking to Christ. And because the experience was happening right there in front of me, right? Some people are probably going to think I'm crazy, or there's like some sort of explanation, whatever. But so with this experience though, I said, yes, of course I do. Where else will I go? Nobody has life but you. Little did I know that I was quoting John. And if I remember, I'll put the verse up. But yeah, I was quoting a verse directly out of John. So it was after that night that everything started to get like way better, like in my marriage, in me, right? Because I had this huge experience, right? It was, to me, it was exactly what I needed at that point in time to get through the next 5 minutes. And I know I'm leaving out like major gaps of time here because first off, there were some things that it was so hard for me to it's so hard for me to recall certain things, but because of everything that was going on. But this specific incident rings in my head because of how powerful it is to me. But from that point, everything was getting better. Like it wasn't that I was getting better physically, because I still deal with a disability. I still have to walk with a cane. I still have to, take medication and stuff like that. But my marriage got better. I started putting forth effort. I wasn't, ready to give up on life. I wasn't so quick to just kind of throw my hands in the air and be like, well, God, since you've done this to me, it was like that driving force was reignited. But everything didn't just snap back together overnight. It was hard, for me, but it took a lot of effort on my part. It took a lot of me putting forth mass amounts of effort, putting effort into reading the Bible, putting effort into praying, putting effort into making sure that I did what I needed to do spiritually to get spiritually healthy, even though my body is not. Even to this day, I suffer a lot. That's just the way my life is. My life is not perfect, but it's a life. It's the life that God's given me. And I struggled with sharing my testimony because you get a lot of judgment when you start telling people that, hey, you struggle with a disability, and they go, well, you don't look disabled. Just because I'm not contorted into a corner doesn't mean I don't have a disability. So I want to thank you guys for your support, for your love, for your acceptance of me. That means a lot. Be on the lookout for more videos like this, because I struggled with myself at being vulnerable. And that's something that I'm going to try to do more of. Is I want to encourage you, if you're going through a tough time right now, if you're going through the struggle of life, right? First off, I know how you feel. Honestly, I do. And I know how hard it is. I know how you want to give up, or how you think about giving up. I understand that you're not alone. Because that was the biggest mistake I made. I always thought I was alone. I wasn't alone. What is a situation in your life that you felt alone?